Hi guys, how you doing? Welcome to Milestone 4. Okay, so in a nutshell, basically we have learned how to encode, um, meaning into our logo systems and our word marks. And we worked on the symbols in Milestone 2, our basic logo. And then in Milestone 3, we kind of switched gears and moved to typography, creating a word mark. Well, we're going to kind of follow along that same reasoning, but we're still going to use the same kind of encoding, the same kind of meaning that we established through different types of typography and the different types of messages that assorted typefaces portray. So think of the word pretty in a nice scripted typeface, or think of the word pretty in a blocky, really bold, blocky typeface. I mean, which fits better, right? So that follows along the same kind of reasoning of the selection of typefaces or the selection of the visual posture you want to represent for your client in the word mark. Uh, the same kind of decisions that go into choosing your visual demeanor for the monograms. Okay, so what is a monogram? Basically, a monogram is just a couple of letters or three letters. It's the initials typically of the company or the person who is you're creating the monogram for. So in this case, you will be using the initials of your client. Here's some examples. Okay, and then here's this week's schedule. So try to adhere to that as well as possible. Okay, so then over here I have this how to create a monogram in Illustrator. And this is kind of just a basic overview of how to set up your document and how to move the letters and create a background and set it up for output in Illustrator. But that's not the only way to approach a monogram. You can also actually draw the monogram out and import it into Illustrator, scan it, import it in Illustrator, sketch it through, go through the pen tool, tracing the sketch, and then create your monogram like that. And then here's just kind of an example of how to do that. Now, this example only shows one letter, so this wouldn't typically, well, I guess it would typically be monogram, but typically monograms have 2 or 3 letters. And as we can see in the example that I had left, but this is a nice little tutorial on how to actually trace it out, build your background, bring it in, trace it out on your sketch paper, as we can see here, and then bring it into Illustrator, sketch it out in Illustrator, add a background, vectorize it, and set it up for output. So that's a nice little tutorial there. Okay, then finally we have so we have those two, welcome to Milestone 4, these two, create a monogram in Illustrator and then select, sketch a monogram and then finish it in Illustrator. But of course I want to go over here to our learning activities because this is really important stuff, guys. This is really important. And then again, we have the same type of studies and different kinds of assets for you to read and really read this, guys. Read this through before you attempt anything. Okay, even do this, take a look at these before you look at the videos that I placed in the announcement area. And then you have different types of graphic symbols. You have this wonderful refining sketches into a graphic symbol, and this is also a wonderful concept exploration and development discussion of the importance of thumbnail sketching in the concept development process. And then Illustrator CC Essential Training, of course, go to that, take a look at those resources there. Okay, so not much different than the process of this week from last week. I mean, basically we do the same. We're doing this same type of process here. Development of the sketches, critique, and then final refined sketches. But I do want to point one thing out to you. Hold on one sec, let me find this. Go through this task 1 really quick because it's a little bit different. In the last 2 milestones, we actually used our words from our word lists to create meaning and to encode meaning into the word marks and the symbols. Not doing that. We're going straight to sketches this week because a monogram is basically the initials. So basically what you want to do is instead of trying to encode the word, and what you're going to do is take your whole, what you've learned about your client and your whole approach, conceptual approach to your client, and you're going to apply that to the typeface choices and the posture of the actual sketches themselves. So you're not necessarily going to say, okay, I'm going to encode this meaning into this monogram. Basically, you're going to create a monogram for your client Okay, but instead of trying to encode one word meaning, just take your whole word list, your whole general demeanor and posture that you have ascertained your client to have through research and development, and you're going to encode the monogram using that. Typically, the best way to do that is, of course, as I mentioned earlier, is the selection of typefaces and what do the typefaces visually say about the client themselves. Okay, so in this task, you'll have to create thumbnail sketches. You'll create 10 sketches, thumbnail sketches, of your monogram concepts for your client, and you would need to submit the best 3. And then you can see you have the best 3. You submit your specifications, an Adobe PDF. Okay, and you're going to have in your PDF, you're going to have your 10 drawn thumbnail sketches of your monogram concepts, and then 3 that you circle. That means you have to just circle. Basically, you'll draw your 10 sketches, circle the 3 that you feel are the most appropriate. We'll take a look at all 10, specifically those 3, and we'll decide which is the best way to move forward from there for your digital sketch renderings. Okay, and then here's your steps for success. So be sure to follow that. That's always a wonderful way to ensure that everything is being submitted properly and on time. Okay, so welcome to Milestone 4. Any questions, comments, or anything whatsoever, clarifications, please let me know. And then also, don't forget about those videos over there in the course announcements page. Again, we have the Welcome to Milestone 4. Got some examples there. Got this week's schedule. And then we have the How to Create a Monogram in Illustrator, using Illustrator alone, selecting typefaces from right within Illustrator. Then we have another tutorial on how to design a monogram based on something that you've sketched out and scanned into Illustrator. Okay, awesome job, guys. Everyone's doing fantastic. Love the work from Milestone 3, and we are moving right along. All right, any questions, comments, concerns, or other, please feel free to get with me. Thanks, everyone.